So, the internet has been an absolute madhouse lately. And today, we're going to figure out exactly why. If you're a Marvel fan, I'm sure your social media feeds have just been exploding with rumors and so-called leaks for the next huge Avengers movie, Doomsday. But what's actually real? What's just fan-made fiction? And what do the insiders, the credible ones, really have to say about the future of the MCU? Well, in this deep dive, we are going to break down everything. We'll start with the AI fakes that are fooling, well, pretty much everyone, and then get into the shocking, universe-shattering plans of Dr. Doom himself. Let's get right into it. And I'm willing to bet these are the exact images you've been seeing everywhere. I mean, you gotta admit, they look pretty incredible, right? You've got this just awesome shot of Dr. Doom, not just fighting Thor, but catching Stormbreaker with one hand like it's nothing, sparks flying and everything. Then there's this really sleek, almost royal-looking new suit for Thor, which is totally different from anything we've seen him in before. And, oh man, this last one. This one hits you right in the feels. Steve Rogers, our original Captain America, looking like he hasn't aged a day, holding Mjolnir again. I mean, come on. These pictures have been shared thousands upon thousands of times, just fueling nonstop speculation. But this is where we gotta pump the brakes. I have to be completely 100% clear about this. As real as they might look, every single one of these images, they're fake. They're really impressive, but they are AI generated. So what actually happened was a super detailed description of the trailer supposedly leaked online, and artists and fans took that text description and used it to generate these visuals. So they're interpretations, not real footage. And that's exactly why we're doing this breakdown, to separate all that fan fiction from the actual credible insider reports to figure out what is really going on. Okay, so now that we've debunked those AI fakes, it kind of begs the bigger question. What about the real trailer, the one that whole description was based on? Well, it does exist. Some footage has been shown, but only to very, very small audiences behind closed doors. So let's break down where it's been shown, and more importantly, when the heck the rest of us might finally get to see it. So to really get what's happening with the trailer, you gotta look at two totally different events. First, there's CinemaCon. Think of this like a super exclusive, industry-only event in Las Vegas. It's where studios show off their movies to theater owners. It is not for the public, and the security is, well, insane. Then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have CCXP Mexico, which is this massive pop culture convention. It's basically a giant party for the fans. Marvel knows that showing something at CinemaCon means it stays a secret. Showing it at CCXP, it's basically guaranteed to leak. And that difference is the key to their whole plan. And seriously, the stories coming out of CinemaCon are pretty wild. People who were there said that the second somebody even thought about raising their phone, bam, a green laser dot would just appear on their screen and security would be on them in a flash. They were taking zero chances. That level of control is exactly why not a single legitimate frame or piece of audio got out from that presentation. For Marvel, it was the perfect way to build some hype within the industry without risking any public leaks. But all of that changes with CCXP Mexico. See, Marvel's playing a whole different game here. They know that if you show a trailer to a room packed with thousands of super passionate fans, a grainy, shaky phone recording is going to be all over the internet in minutes. So the thinking from insiders is that they're going to get ahead of it. Instead of letting a bad quality leak be everyone's first impression, they'll probably show it at the convention and then drop the official high-def trailer online for all of us, either at the same time or right after. So you might want to circle late April on your calendars, because that looks like our best bet. So, when that trailer finally drops, what's it actually going to show us? This is where we move past release dates and get into the real meat of the plot. And I have to give you a fair warning here, because we are officially entering the territory of the single biggest, most absolutely mind-bending rumor about this movie. This is supposedly the core idea of Avengers Doomsday, Dr. Doom's final ultimate plan. And look, there's no way to sugarcoat this, so I'm just going to say it straight up. According to the most trusted sources, here's the premise of the movie. With just a couple of very specific exceptions, Dr. Doom will succeed in killing every single hero in the multiverse. Not just the Avengers, I mean everyone, from Spider-Man to the Guardians. Think about the snap from Infinity War and then crank that up to 1,000. We are talking about a total extinction-level event for our heroes. And of course, the first thing you're probably asking is, how? How is that even possible in a story? It sounds like a crazy fan theory. But when you actually start to look at the step-by-step breakdown of how Doom reportedly pulls this off, well, the pieces start to click into place, and you see a plan that is as brilliant as it is absolutely terrifying. All right, let's walk through this, step by step, because it is a wild ride. So, the plan doesn't start with Doom fighting heroes one by one. It's way bigger than that. Step 1, he destroys the entire multiverse. Through some insane power source, Doom apparently triggers a total collapse of every reality, every timeline, everything. Which of course leads to step 2, the total wipe. If the multiverse is gone, everyone in it is gone too. Every hero, every villain, just erased. Not dead, just gone. But here's the genius, evil part of the plan. Step 3, the recreation. Doom, now basically a god, doesn't just let them stay erased. He brings them back. He rebuilds reality from scratch. And that leads to the horrifying endgame, step 4, Battle World. They all wake up, but they're not on their old worlds. They're on a new patchwork planet that Doom created, and they have no memory of who they were. And in this new world, Dr. Doom isn't a villain. He's their god, he's their creator, and he is their absolute master.
Now, creating an entire planet and then filling it with new people and places, that takes an unbelievable amount of power and a very specific set of skills. So who could possibly be the architect for something that massive? Well, the leaks all point to one person, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. I mean, think back to WandaVision. She didn't just create illusions, she literally rewrote reality down to the molecular level inside that town. The hex wasn't fake, it was real. The theory is that Doom is going to harness that exact same power, either by forcing her or convincing her, to do it all over again. But this time, instead of a small town, her canvas is an entire planet, making her the architect of his new world.
You know, you would think that with the literal ends of all existence just around the corner, Earth's mightiest heroes would be more united than ever, right? A solid front. But according to these leaks, as we get closer to Doomsday, they couldn't be more broken apart. In fact, they're basically on the verge of their own civil war.
And this line, which is reportedly from Thor in the trailer, just sums up the whole problem perfectly. You can just feel the frustration in his voice when he tells them to put their pointless quarrels aside. This line makes it sound like Thor is one of the few who's already run into Doom. He's seen what's coming, and he comes back to Earth to warn everyone, only to find his friends are more worried about their own drama than the apocalypse that's about to hit.
So what are these pointless quarrels about? Well, the leaks claim that this big split starts in the post-credit scene of the Thunderbolts movie. So the Thunderbolts, this government-backed team of anti-heroes led by Bucky Barnes, they pull off some huge mission, and feeling pretty good about themselves, they try to claim the title of the Avengers. But Sam Wilson, our new Captain America, flat out refuses. He believes the name Avenger has to be earned through selfless action, not by following a government agenda. And apparently, that disagreement is what completely shatters the friendship between Sam and Bucky, splitting the whole hero community right down the middle. Okay, but amidst all this dark, heavy conflict, there is one rumor that is just pure, awesome fan service, and it is a big one. For years, fans have been dreaming about this, and insiders are saying it might finally happen in either Doomsday or Secret Wars, a full-on assembly of Hulks. We are talking a multiversal team-up. That means Mark Ruffalo's Hulk fighting alongside Edward Norton's Hulk from 2008 and Eric Bana's Hulk from 2003. And to top it all off, the live-action debut of Red Hulk. Can you even begin to imagine that scene? It would be absolutely legendary. And speaking of legendary returns, let's talk about the original Captain America, Steve Rogers. The last time we saw him, he was an old man, happy after living a full life with Peggy Carter in another timeline. But a pretty wild new rumor suggests his story isn't quite over. According to this leak, Steve and Peggy were found by the TVA and are now basically living in a cosmic witness protection program, totally hidden from the rest of the multiverse. And that, of course, immediately brings up the million-dollar question. A witness to what? What could Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter have possibly seen in their timeline that would be so important that the TVA, the guardians of all of time, would feel the need to hide them away? Well, the main theory has a fascinating answer. The idea is that at some point, maybe during his trip to return the Infinity Stones, or sometime during his life with Peggy, Steve Rogers ran into Dr. Doom. And he didn't just meet him. He actually witnessed the very beginning of Doom's plan to destroy the multiverse. This makes Steve the one and only person who can confirm the threat that Doom represents. He's basically the TVA's star witness, and they need his testimony as the justification to finally step in and do something. But even with all of these absolutely shocking plot points, there's one leak focused on one character that has caused more arguments online than anything else. It's a character turn that seems to go against everything we know about him. We have to talk about the rumored betrayal of Doctor Strange. Yup, you heard me right. The reports are claiming that the former Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, will actively betray the heroes and choose to side with Doctor Doom.
Now, on the surface, that sounds completely insane. But when you start to dig into why he would do it, you start to see this twisted, terrible logic that honestly is perfectly in character for the Stephen Strange we know. To really get this, we have to go all the way back to Infinity War. Remember on Titan, Strange looked at over 14 million futures and only saw one where they won, and that path required him to just hand the time stone over to Thanos. To everyone else, it looked like he was giving up, like a total betrayal, but his real goal was to make sure Tony Stark survived because that was the key to winning in the end. He made a cold, logical choice, and he turned out to be right. The leaks say he's doing the exact same thing here. His plan is to help Doctor Doom. His goal is even bigger, to save the entire multiverse. But here's the tragic, crucial difference. The reports all say that this time, his math is wrong. This gamble is going to fail, and this so-called necessary evil will lead to total disaster.
And that really leads us to the philosophical heart of this whole conflict. Because to understand why a hero like Doctor Strange would ever make a choice like that, you have to consider a really uncomfortable question. What if, from a certain point of view, Doctor Doom actually has a point?
Let's just look at this logically, from Doom's perspective for a second. What has been the hero's track record? Unrestricted time travel, which created all sorts of broken timelines. Reckless universe hopping, which caused incursions that wiped out entire realities. Their actions, even with good intentions, have basically destabilized the entire multiverse. Now look at Doom's solution. It's tyrannical for sure, but it is also absolute. By collapsing everything into one universe, there's no more universe hopping. By outlawing time travel, there are no more paradoxes. He's proposing to fix the chaos that the heroes created by imposing total, brutal order. He's offering a cure, even if that cure is terrifying.
And this is the kind of logic that would appeal to Doctor Strange. He's always been the ultimate pragmatist. Captain America works on principles, Thor works on honor, but Strange, he works on outcomes. He looks at the whole equation and sees that the heroes' freedom and their chaos have brought reality to the brink of collapse. He wouldn't see Doom's plan as just evil. He would see it as a necessary, logical, horrifying solution. He'd see it like a surgeon amputating a limb to save the patient's life. From his cold, detached perspective, siding with Doom is the only move left that can save reality itself.
All right, before we get to our final thought, here's one last little bit of industry news that's been making the rounds. It looks like two of our biggest MCU stars might be taking a little trip over to a different cinematic universe. Sebastian Stan, our Bucky Barnes, is apparently the frontrunner to play Harvey Dent. Yep, Two-Face in the Batman Part 2. And get this, the rumor also says that Scarlett Johansson is being looked at for the role of Gilda Dent, Harvey's wife. A Bucky and Black Widow reunion, but over in Gotham City. Just a fun little casting rumor to keep on your radar.
So, after everything we've broken down today, from the fake leaks to the real trailer, the civil war between our heroes, Doom's apocalyptic plan, and Doctor Strange's terrible choice, it really all seems to boil down to this one central question. A question that feels like the entire point of Avengers Doomsday. In a reality that's been so fundamentally broken by the very people trying to protect it, is the only way to save everything to first destroy it all? It's a heavy thought, and one I think we'll all be wrestling with until this movie finally hits theaters. Thanks for watching.